Hello, esteemed gentlemen. Silence is only awkward when there's nothing of value to break it with. That's not a philosophical jab. It's the inner monologue of a Sigma male watching modern dating unfold like a bloated Netflix series that should have ended 3 seasons ago. Here's the kicker. According to recent data, over 60% of men under 30 are now single, and many of them aren't even trying. Not ghosted, not rejected, not heartbroken. They've just quietly exited the building. No dramatic walk-off, no sad boy music, just a clean surgical vanishing act. And it's not because they can't get girls. That would be too easy and too false. It's because what's on offer no longer aligns with their internal code. The Sigma male isn't playing hard to get. He's not playing at all. So, if you're wondering why these lone wolves are watching from the shadows instead of sliding into your DMs, buckle up. The answers are about to hit harder than a motivational reel on 1.5x speed. And yes, somewhere out there, a Sigma male just skipped a Tinder match to build his second income stream and finish a philosophy podcast. Let's talk about why. Number 1, women aren't the mystery anymore. The algorithm solved that. Women aren't the mystery they used to be. That's the brutal truth. Sigma males have stepped back from approaching not because they've lost interest, but because they've cracked the code. Once, getting to know a woman was a layered experience. You'd pick up subtle cues, notice how she carried herself, pay attention to her tone, her energy, the way she responded to silence. It was organic, there was discovery, there was depth. Today, everything's online, everything's exposed, it's all out there before a single word is spoken. Sigma males are observant. They process patterns like machines, and right now the patterns are repetitive, recycled, and predictable. A quick scroll through social media shows the same poses, the same captions, the same personality archetypes dressed in different outfits. The mystery that once drew men in, that genuine curiosity to uncover who someone is, has been replaced with curated personas. When you already know someone's playlist, political views, weekend plans, attachment style, and their last vacation spot just from their Instagram stories, what's left to discover? Approaching someone used to mean walking into the unknown. Now it's like reading a Wikipedia summary of a movie you haven't watched yet. The suspense is dead. The conversations feel preloaded. He knows exactly where they'll go before they start. She'll say she's just vibing, she's into energy, and looking for someone on her level, all while recycling ideas from her favorite influencers. Sigma males aren't interested in playing a role in someone's pre-written script. They crave real, raw, undiluted individuality. Not templates, not projections, not a highlight reel in heels. The algorithm has turned human interaction into a playlist of clichés, and Sigma males aren't here for the rerun. So no, it's not fear, it's not shyness, it's not bitterness. It's pure calculation. The thrill of the unknown has been replaced by spoilers, and for a man who thrives on depth, that's enough reason to walk away before the first word is even said. Number 2, the return on investment is intellectually insulting. For Sigma males, time isn't just valuable, it's sacred. They operate on a mental economy where every interaction is measured against purpose, energy, and depth. So when a conversation begins with wide, followed by a flurry of emojis and surface-level banter, it doesn't just feel dull, it feels insulting. It's not arrogance, it's the refusal to waste mental bandwidth on exchanges that offer no substance. Sigma males don't chase attention. They don't seek to be entertained. They're not looking to fill silence with small talk. They build, they create, they think, and that level of mental output demands returns that match. When the emotional and intellectual yield of a conversation is equivalent to watching paint dry on a phone screen, they opt out without hesitation. It's not that they expect Shakespeare or Nietzsche from every woman, but they expect effort, a flicker of originality, a mind that isn't on autopilot. Instead, what they often get is a loop of filtered selfies, tired slang, and conversations that feel like recycled scripts from 5 other chats happening simultaneously. That's not interaction, that's noise. Sigma males are strategic with their energy. If he engages with you, it means he saw potential in the exchange. But when that potential collapses into mindless texts and unearned expectations, the entire experience starts to feel like a bad investment. It's not about entitlement to a deep connection. It's about standards. Standards that don't bend just because someone looks good in good lighting. So when the average interaction requires emotional labor, mental energy and time, only to yield shallow, predictable results, the Sigma male doesn't complain. He just pulls the plug. Quietly, instantly, without drama. Because for a man who sees the world in systems and returns, low-effort communication is a tax he refuses to pay. In a world that rewards dopamine loops and values appearances over essence, approaching has become less of an adventure and more of a liability. For a Sigma, that kind of trade-off isn't just unappealing, it's beneath him. Number 3. Validation is cheap now, and he's not buying it. Validation used to mean something. It was earned, not handed out like candy at a parade. A woman's attention, her interest, her time, it once carried weight. For a Sigma male, that kind of validation was never about ego. It was about recognition from someone who saw the depth in him. It was rare, real, and required effort from both sides. But today, validation is mass-produced, watered down, and offered to anyone with a ring light and a well-filtered selfie. Social media changed the game. It turned attention into a commodity and women into their own PR teams. The average woman now has a digital cheering squad of strangers flooding her inbox with heart emojis and compliments every time she posts a half-decent picture. There's no scarcity, no mystique, no selectivity. And when something is everywhere, it stops being valuable. Sigma males see through this instantly. They don't feel special because someone double-tapped their story. They don't interpret a compliment from someone who gave 37 others that day as anything meaningful. It's not that they don't appreciate recognition. It's that they know when it's diluted. They're not flattered by attention that comes from a place of boredom, validation chasing, or habitual scrolling. In fact, it's insulting to their intelligence. Sigma males thrive in authenticity. They don't want the version of you that's been copy-pasted into a dozen other conversations. They want the version no one else gets. But that version is rare these days, buried beneath curated aesthetics, algorithm-driven behavior, and the constant need for external approval. So no, they're not going to chase likes in real life. They're not going to perform for attention that feels like background noise. They're not buying validation that's been handed out wholesale like discount perfume at a mall kiosk. They'll walk past it, silently, and invest their energy where it actually matters. Because when validation becomes cheap, seeking it becomes foolish. And Sigma males don't chase what the world is giving away for free, especially when they know their own worth isn't up for sale. Number 4, the high ground is lonelier, but cleaner. Sigma males operate in a space that most people don't even realize exists. As they evolve intellectually, emotionally, and even spiritually, they begin to notice something unsettling. The air gets thinner up there. The conversations get rarer. The minds get fewer. It's not that they've outgrown everyone, it's that so many people stopped growing a long time ago. They start valuing silence over small talk, solitude over shallow company, purpose over popularity. And in that space, very few can meet them. Not because others aren't allowed, but because very few are willing to do the work it takes to climb. Most prefer comfort over confrontation, attention over introspection, and distraction over discipline. But Sigma males don't want easy, they want real, and real costs. The higher a Sigma rises in self-awareness, the more he realizes that most interactions aren't connections. They're transactions. Most relationships are just two people trying to use each other to escape themselves. That realization kills the urge to fit in or settle. So he stops trying, not out of arrogance, but out of self-respect. He refuses to dilute who he is just to be more digestible. If that means fewer people can relate to him, so be it. That's not loneliness. That's clarity. And yes, the high ground can be isolating. People often mistake his silence for coldness, his distance for disinterest, or his solitude for sadness. But what they don't understand is that Sigma males aren't running from connection. They're just allergic to contamination. They know that proximity isn't intimacy, and company isn't always comfort. Sometimes it's just noise. So while others chase crowds, Sigma males clean house. While others follow trends, he follows truth. It might be quieter where he is, but it's also free of drama, pretense, and low-effort energy. It's clean, it's clear, it's sharp. And if that means walking alone, he'll walk miles. Because what he refuses to do is come down from the mountain just to make someone else feel tall. He didn't climb to be admired. He climbed to breathe. Number 5. The modern woman's persona is crowdsourced. Sigma males are allergic to artificiality, and in today's world, that's almost all they see. The modern woman's identity, more often than not, feels like it's been assembled by a committee of trending hashtags, viral TikToks, recycled memes, and whatever ideology is hot this week. It's not that she doesn't have a personality. It's that it's been outsourced to the algorithm. She talks like a podcast, thinks like a tweet, dresses like a Pinterest board. Her opinions come pre-packaged. Her phrases echo what she just watched online, and her sense of self shifts depending on who she's around or what's trending. There's no depth, no individuality, just layers of borrowed thoughts, second-hand ideologies, and personality fragments glued together with aesthetic quotes and zodiac clichés. Sigma males aren't fooled by this. They don't engage with personas that feel like they're trying to sell something, whether it's a lifestyle, a victim narrative, or a curated image of what femininity should look like. They crave authenticity, not aesthetics. They want contradictions, not branding. Real humans are messy, unpredictable, full of nuance. But today, too many women are focused on seeming something instead of being anything. The result? Interactions that feel like interviews. Relationships that feel like collaborations. Conversations that feel like PR statements. Sigma males see through it in seconds. They don't want to peel back 20 layers of trend-based identity just to find a sliver of truth underneath. They want raw from the start. This isn't about women being influenced. Everyone is to some degree. It's about women who are nothing but influence, who've never asked themselves what they truly believe, what they actually want, or who they really are without the approval of strangers. That's a red flag to a Sigma male, not because he's judgmental, but because he values truth over presentation. And when he senses he's speaking to a persona rather than a person, he checks out immediately. No hate, no drama, no critique, just quiet disengagement. Because he's not looking for a partner to build an aesthetic with. He's looking for a woman who built her own identity, offline, off-script, and off-grid. Number 6. He doesn't want to be a plot device in her story arc. Sigma males aren't here to play a role in someone else's healing journey, redemption arc, or emotional soap opera. They see it all the time. Women who treat relationships like episodes in a series, where each man serves a temporary purpose. One's the rebound, one's the ego boost, one's the fixer-upper she thought she could change, and another, just a placeholder until the next one enters the frame. Sigma males don't do placeholder energy. They refuse to be props in a storyline that isn't theirs. The character development many women speak of often comes at the emotional expense of men who never signed up to be her therapist, her experiment, or her emotional punching bag. Sigma males spot it instantly. The ones who aren't really looking for a partner, but a platform. Someone to make them feel something, prove something, fix something. And then when the phase is over, they're discarded like a plot line that's no longer useful to the show. These women aren't connecting, they're casting. They don't want a real man, they want a narrative boost. A dramatic chapter to post about, a before and after transformation that ends with "I learned a lot from that." But Sigma males don't exist to be chapters in someone else's memoir of growth. They don't invest in relationships that feel like emotional internships. They've seen the pattern. The woman who's still entangled with her ex, but wants to see where this goes. The one who just got out of a toxic mess and is looking for positive energy, which is code for a man to clean up the emotional debris. The one who says, "You're exactly what I need right now," which almost always means temporary use, not long-term value. Sigma males see through the romantic opportunism, and they don't complain. They just exit, because they're not auditioning. They're not performing, and they're definitely not here to be an emotional stunt double while someone else finds themselves. They want a woman who's done the inner work, who wants a partner, not a plot twist. And if that doesn't show up, they'll walk away with zero bitterness. Because unlike most, they don't need a story to feel whole. Number 7. Emotional labor is the new currency, and he's not paying. In today's dating landscape, emotional labor has quietly become the unspoken currency. But here's the catch. It's almost always one-sided. More and more women aren't looking for connection, they're looking for relief. Someone to absorb the emotional chaos they refuse to sort out themselves. Enter the man as therapist role. He listens, he soothes, he affirms, he fixes. And Sigma males? They want no part of it. They're not interested in becoming the emotional landfill for unresolved trauma. They won't play the savior, the fixer, the temporary band-aid over years of unchecked baggage. They don't find it attractive when a woman brags about being too much to handle or a beautiful disaster. That's not mystery, that's mayhem in mascara. And Sigma males see the warning signs for what they are, invitations to drain their energy in the name of love. Women who haven't done the inner work often look for men to do it for them. They crave constant reassurance, endless attention, and instant emotional bailouts the second they feel discomfort. And at first they'll frame it as vulnerability, but it quickly turns into dependency. Every mood swing becomes his problem. Every insecurity becomes his job to manage, and every disagreement gets framed as emotional unavailability on his part. But Sigma males aren't cold, they're precise. They're emotionally intelligent, which is exactly why they protect their peace so ruthlessly. They're happy to support, but not to be used as an emotional crutch for someone who refuses to carry her own weight. They're not going to sit there and decode mixed signals or walk on eggshells just to maintain the illusion of connection. That's not love, that's unpaid therapy. This is the man who's mastered his inner world, and because of that, he won't invite chaos into it. He's not trying to rescue someone who's drowning in their own emotional drama and calling it passion. He wants a partner, not a patient. Someone self-aware, not self-absorbed. So when a woman shows up with unresolved wounds demanding emotional compensation, he doesn't argue, he doesn't lecture, he just walks. Because emotional labor may be the new currency, but he knows his energy is priceless, and he's not spending it on dysfunction dressed up as depth. Number 8. The feminine isn't feminine anymore. The polarity is gone. What once sparked connection, the magnetic contrast between masculine and feminine, has been replaced with a chaotic blur of reversed roles and confused identities. And Sigma males who operate with precision and self-awareness have zero interest in navigating a landscape where no one knows who they are, what they want, or how they're showing up. Today, femininity is often mistaken for performance. Exaggerated aesthetics, curated sensuality, and hypersexuality paraded as empowerment. But true femininity isn't about looks or slogans. It's about softness without weakness, intuition without hysteria, emotionality without manipulation. And that kind of energy, it's nearly extinct. What Sigma males encounter instead is a masculine shell wrapped in a feminine form. Women who lead with dominance, aggression, and competition, not empathy, grace, or nurturing. They're told it's strength, but to Sigma males it just feels like another form of control. He's not threatened by strength, he respects it. But when it's performative, reactive, or rooted in past trauma disguised as independence, he doesn't engage. At the same time, masculinity itself is under siege. Men are being softened, muted, and conditioned to suppress their natural instincts. Assertiveness is labeled toxic. Leadership is seen as oppressive. Direction is mistaken for control. The result? A cultural gender soup where no one leads, no one follows, and everyone is stuck performing roles they don't even believe in. Sigma males aren't confused. They're just unmoved. They see the dysfunction, and instead of trying to fix it or fight it, they simply opt out. They won't engage in a dynamic that's out of alignment. They won't play tug-of-war with someone who sees compromise as weakness. And they won't chase femininity in a space where it's been replaced with power games, emotional manipulation, or a thinly veiled resentment toward men. He doesn't want control. He wants complement. He doesn't want obedience. He wants polarity. And until he finds a woman who's confident enough to rest in her real feminine energy, not the overcompensated version the internet told her to adopt, he'll stay distant. Not out of bitterness, out of clarity. Because when polarity dies, chemistry dies with it, and Sigma males don't do connections without current. Number 9. Sexual access isn't a reward anymore. Once upon a time, sex was something sacred. Not just in the spiritual sense, but in the emotional one. It had weight, depth, and resonance. It was the culmination of trust, chemistry, and mutual vulnerability. But somewhere along the line, that changed. Now for many, sex is strategy. It's a bargaining chip, a performance, a tool to gain leverage, clout, or temporary validation. And for Sigma males, men who seek meaning in everything they do, that shift made the whole game lose its flavor. Sexual access isn't a reward anymore. It's available on demand, marketed like a lifestyle accessory and stripped of all nuance. A man doesn't need character, vision, or presence anymore. Just the right look, the right follower count, or the right toxic charm. And once everyone's had it, the value vanishes. Scarcity creates meaning. Oversaturation kills it. Sigma males don't chase what feels like a vending machine transaction. They're not prudes, they're not afraid of desire. But when physical intimacy becomes disconnected from emotional substance, it turns hollow fast. They're not looking to collect notches or play along with performative intimacy where the body is present, but the soul has clocked out. They don't want dopamine, they want depth. They've seen how the modern sexual market runs on pretense. Hookups pretending to be freedom, oversharing pretending to be connection, and casual sex pretending to be empowerment. But when everything is accessible, nothing is special. And Sigma males don't pursue what feels spiritually cheap just because it's physically available. They also see how some women weaponize access, treating it like a carrot on a stick, used to bait attention, effort, or submission. But Sigma males don't negotiate desire. They don't jump through hoops for something that once meant connection and now often means control. To them, sex without meaning is noise. A good song played on broken speakers. No matter how tempting, if it doesn't echo with something real, they'll pass. Not out of pride, but out of principle. Because for Sigma males, physical access isn't the finish line. It's a door. And if what's behind it feels hollow, scripted, or unearned, they'd rather stay outside, fulfilled, focused, and far from the chaos of meaningless touch. Number 10. Modern dating is a surveillance state. Dating in the modern world often feels less like connection and more like a live-streamed interrogation. Every text is a potential screenshot. Every casual joke could be pulled out of context. Every opinion risks becoming someone's next vague subtweet. For Sigma males who thrive on privacy, discretion, and authenticity, this isn't just irritating. It's suffocating. They're not trying to get away with anything. They're not hiding skeletons in their closets. They just believe that human connection should be real, not documented for a third-party audience. But these days, many women don't just date men. They collect data on them. They investigate. They analyze. They cross-reference social media behavior like it's a CIA case file. Who liked what? Who commented where? Why he took 3 hours to respond. It's less romance, more surveillance. Sigma males hate performative living. They're not wired to put on a curated persona for strangers or adjust their behavior to avoid digital backlash. They value freedom over favor. And in today's climate, freedom in dating is scarce. You're always on. Every move is a potential red flag, every silence a suspicious signal. He didn't post you after 3 dates. Must be hiding something. He's not on TikTok, emotionally unavailable. He doesn't want a FaceTime before every date, labeled as distant. This 24/7 social audit creates a minefield that Sigma males won't walk through just to satisfy someone's paranoia. They're not going to explain their life like it's a public relations campaign. They're not going to perform vulnerability just to meet someone's emotional content quota. And they're not going to be shamed for valuing boundaries in a world that constantly tries to violate them. Sigma males want connection without surveillance. They want intimacy without exposure. They want to talk without worrying about whether their words will be repackaged into a group chat punchline or posted online for public critique. They crave trust, not tracking. So when modern dating starts to feel more like digital parole than partnership, the Sigma male opts out. Quietly, completely. Not because he fears accountability, but because he refuses to live under a microscope just to feel loved. Number 11. He's too fulfilled to chase something so spiritually empty. Sigma males aren't walking around with a love-shaped hole in their chest. They're not lonely, bitter, or waiting for a soulmate to complete their Netflix subscription. They're full, genuinely, unshakably full. Their minds are occupied with ideas, visions, strategies, quiet victories, and personal revolutions. They've built inner worlds so rich that chasing validation, surface-level affection, or a relationship built on performance feels like spiritual malnourishment. They know the difference between being alone and being empty. Most people confuse the two, but Sigma males understand that solitude isn't a punishment. It's a power source. In that stillness, they create, reflect, evolve. They're not avoiding people, they're avoiding noise. They don't fear missing out. They choose to miss out on things that don't feed them. And let's be honest, most modern relationships are built on dopamine hits and identity inflation. They're not partnerships. They're transactions dressed up in cute captions. And Sigma males can smell that kind of spiritual hollowness from miles away. They see the dynamics, the performance of love, the choreography of flirting, the endless attempts to be chosen instead of simply being. It's a race to the bottom, and they're not interested in running. Why would a man, completely full within himself, chase someone still looking to be filled? Why would he abandon the richness of his inner life to pursue someone who measures connection in attention spans and Instagram reactions? He sees the breadcrumbs, the flirtations, the mixed signals, the emotional breadcrumbing that keeps most men in chase mode. But when you're already feasting on purpose, meaning, and clarity, chasing breadcrumbs is beneath you. It's not ego, it's alignment. Sigma males aren't celibate monks or emotionless robots. They're capable of deep connection, probably deeper than most, but they refuse to plug into anything built on emptiness. They're not looking to be completed. They're looking to expand with someone who's already whole. So when people ask why he doesn't approach anymore, the answer is simple. He's full of life, direction, and self-awareness. And unless the energy matches that level of spiritual substance, he won't chase. He'll keep walking, fed, focused, and free. Number 12. He knows preference is often a disguise for trauma. Sigma males have the uncanny ability to see through things, and that includes people's so-called preferences. They've been around long enough, observed enough patterns, and stayed quiet long enough to realize that most dating preferences aren't based on compatibility, values, or vision. They're built on trauma, and worse, many people don't even realize it. When a woman says she only dates toxic but exciting men, what she's really saying is, chaos feels like home. When she says he has to be 6'4" and emotionally unavailable, she's often recreating some unfinished pattern with her distant father or the ex who validated her self-worth through neglect. The obsession with rich, alpha, bad boy, or emotionally cold but fine as hell is often less about standards and more about unresolved issues dressed up as taste. Sigma males decode this instantly. Not because they're judging, but because they've done their own inner work. They know the difference between desire and dysfunction, between attraction and addiction. And when someone's preferences consistently point toward pain, they know that stepping into that dynamic means becoming another chapter in someone's emotional loop. They won't do it. They've been approached with it all. Women who say they want a good man, but get bored without drama. Women who claim to want honesty, but punish transparency. Women who list their preferences like a resume, not realizing every bullet point screams unprocessed damage. And the Sigma male sees the subconscious at work. The patterns, the repetition, the emotional déjà vu disguised as destiny. So when he hears, "I just have a type," he listens closely, not to the words, but to the wound underneath. And if it's clear that the type is rooted in trauma and not growth, he opts out, quietly, entirely, not because he's heartless, but because he refuses to play therapist, savior, or emotional stuntman in someone else's coping cycle. He's not here to be chosen by trauma. He's here to be matched by clarity. And until a woman can tell the difference between what her soul needs and what her pain craves, she won't even see him. And that's fine. He'll keep walking, because preferences shaped by pain will always reject peace. And peace is the only currency Sigma males truly deal in. When a man has peace, purpose, and self-respect, Everything else is optional. The Sigma male isn't bitter, broken, or boycotting women. He's simply evolved past the noise, past the endless swiping, the performative femininity, the trauma-drenched preferences, and the recycled chaos labeled as chemistry. He sees the games, understands the patterns, and chooses to play a different one, or none at all. He's not waiting for the perfect woman to fall into his lap. He's not angry that modern dating has become a performance arena filled with shallow applause and scripted drama. He just refuses to audition. Because when you operate from inner fullness, you stop chasing things that are externally hollow. To most, his detachment looks like arrogance. To others, like mystery. But in truth, it's clarity. It's knowing that love, intimacy, and connection must be built on shared values, not shared algorithms. It's knowing that peace is more valuable than attention, and solitude is far better than entanglement with someone who confuses dysfunction with depth. Sigma males don't need to be seen to feel significant. They don't need access to feel desired. They don't approach anymore not because they've given up, but because they've woken up. And once you see the matrix for what it is, pretending you're still plugged in becomes spiritual suicide. So no, he's not coming over to say hi. He's not sliding into your DMs. He's not performing for a spotlight built on filters, trauma cycles, and social media validation. He's building empires of thought, of peace, of purpose. And when the right woman sees it, truly sees it, she won't need to be chased. She'll match him step for step because real recognizes real. Until then, he walks alone. Not as a loner, but as a man who refuses to dilute himself to fit into a world drunk on noise. Not out of bitterness, but out of brilliance. Because when you finally know your worth, silence isn't lonely, it's luxury. If this hit different, if it made you think, nod, or even question everything you thought you knew, then don't just scroll past like the rest of the crowd. Hit that subscribe button, because this channel isn't about fluff, trends, or surface talk. It's about truth. Raw, unfiltered, brutally honest truth, like the video if it spoke to you. Drop a comment and let your voice be heard. No filters, no masks. I read every single one, and share this with someone who's been silently thinking the same things but never had the words. This is more than content. This is clarity. And if you're ready for more, you know what to do. Stay sharp, stay focused, and stay unapologetically you.